This administration determined that it was not in our interest to significantly undermine, to weaken our bilateral relationship, our ally, the relationship we have with our ally Germany.
Well, let's speak to Dr. Thomas O'Donnell, who is an energy industry analyst and lecturer at Hertie School of Governance in Berlin. Thanks for joining us on DW Business. Just remind us, I guess, why the US is so opposed to Nord Stream 2.
Well, I should point out that it's not only the US, the European Parliament has voted overwhelmingly at least twice, and most of the Eastern members of the European Union also oppose it. The essential thing is the security of Ukraine. When Putin was forced, before Nord Stream 1, which they also opposed, before Nord Stream 2, and another pipeline called Turk Stream that comes through the south, before these pipelines, Putin was putting the overwhelming majority of the gas he supplied to Europe through Ukraine. That constrained him in his aggression against Ukraine and his subversion of the country. So it's not just money for Ukraine, it's also a matter of the defense of Ukraine. And we know what Putin has done to Ukraine. Germany, on the other hand, did not agree with this policy. They considered this dangerous, and that therefore, because of the conflicts between Putin and that Putin causes in Ukraine, they wanted the gas out of there. And they've gotten what they wanted, and as Putin also wanted it out and has gotten now what he wanted.
Are you surprised to see the US dropping its threat of sanctions and actually allowing Nord Stream 2 to go ahead now?
Well, I think you should take, one may or may not agree with the assessment, but if you take Ned Price, who you just had on, and the State Department at their word, they did come into office at a time when Trump had adamantly opposed putting sanctions on this. He was forced to do it by Congress and only put a couple sanctions. So it was basically completed. The German side had made it clear to the American side, we will see that this pipeline is finished no matter what you do. Essentially, they probably would have let the Russians finish it, even if you sanction German companies. So Biden comes in office. He's got to unite, have a G7 meeting, have a NATO conference coming up. Merkel was refusing to talk, to cooperate until Biden made this concession, and Biden had to go off and face Putin. This was a very difficult situation for the White House, and I think they made a real politic decision that they couldn't stop the pipeline. Russia has won, and Germany, for its own reasons, has won.
You mentioned, though, the European opponents of Nord Stream 2, in particular Ukraine and Poland. How are they going to feel about this decision? Because they were relying on the US's opposition, really, weren't they? If you can answer briefly as well, we're a little long on time.
However it has been put diplomatically, Zelensky refused to see the American representative in Ukraine. The Ukrainians are not pleased. Look, the things that, if you read through this agreement, these are things that have been talked about for a while. Nothing in this agreement is something that your ally, Germany, wouldn't naturally do. If Russia cut off the gas through Ukraine and causing a crisis in Europe, wouldn't they sanction Russia? Wouldn't they try to retaliate in some way through the EU and through German law? If Ukraine is attacked by Russia, more aggression, wouldn't they put more sanctions? Wouldn't Germany normally put so many billion dollars into the Eastern 11 countries to build infrastructure? They've not promised to do anything that they shouldn't do as an ally. What's very striking to me is that the United States had to go through this to get this kind of an agreement.
OK. Well, Thomas O'Donnell, thanks a lot for bringing your expertise to DW Business.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Now, as the pandemic drags on, new research shows vast differences in how people living in